I'm Scott Herzog.
And I'm Jim Arrowwood.
And on this episode of the Dune Saga podcast, we're discussing National Lampoon's Dune.
Oh,
Dune.
Dun, 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 dun.
D-O-N.
Yeah.
By Ellis? Or
It should be called Doom.
Doom, yes.
Doom.
Dumb.
Dumb. I like dumb better. Every time I hear Doom, I hear I think of like the Ents marching to war.
Oh, yeah.
This will likely be our doom. Or Casa Doom.
Casa Doom.
Well, we're definitely stepping down our level of intellectual banter tonight for sure.
Yeah. We have
Banter
to match the level of this book.
Yes.
I'll
talk about anything but this book. How about that?
All right. Synopsis.
Go ahead.
This is a National Lampoon's cover of Dune, obviously, with an insane premise that Arrakis is a planet made of sugar.
A ruckus.
Yeah, Arrakis is a ruckus, and it's a planet of sugar where there's no entrees. Everything's desserts. And the worms are giant pretzels, sentient pretzels. And spice is actually just beer that bubbles up.
Which isn't that far-fetched. I mean, addicted to spice, you see people do all sorts of stuff.
Right. Right. And everything revolves around the sisterhood is all about, they're all chefs. Instead of witches.
What you want to argue, that's not terribly off base. I mean, I think of all the cooking they did to get that bloodline right. They were
cooking the books.
They were cooking the books. That's right. Yeah. They were making
and they know all of the recipes throughout all of known history and
right.
Wow.
This book is insane. I don't know what else to say about the plot other than that's basically it.
Good. Are we done now? Can we wrap up the show?
Shy Ganud, clear the sugar path before you know. I'm just
right. Well, so let's do our overall impression and thoughts. But I believe we kind of get a hint. We're getting a hint of this already. But David, let's start with you. Overall impression and thought of this book.
Okay. They give it to me first. So I have to be the first one to share this.
You do. Do you want me to share first? Because I'm willing to share first.
Yeah, you share first.
I will share first. I will share first, please. This show would be so much better if I were a little bit tipsy on the borderline drunk, because I think that I would be able to speak more coherently about this book. Jim's nodding because he agrees with it.
Yeah. Double scotch would go pretty good right now.
It would indeed. So here's the thing about this book. I have two thoughts. First, I think that were we to do this again and put ourselves through this, this would be better served, pun intended, right after reading the original Dune, because then we'd have so part of the issue I had as I read through this is I felt too divorced from the actual events that happened in Dune, because we read so much Dune since.
But we had Spice World.
We did, but this book, if you rank this book better than Spice World, I'm walking. Don't you dare do that, because this book was just not my cup of tea. I did not like it. It didn't appeal to me. I got through. I will generously say a half, but you're lucky if you got me that far. I could not make myself finish this book. It just did not capture me. I guess part of it's my issue, and I know that because I rarely read humorous science fiction, and I don't read parodies of anything. I don't watch a lot of parody shows, like Spaceballs. That may have been like the extent of the parodies that I really have watched. And so for me, I'm in throes of the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. Absolutely phenomenal. It's deep. I came out of the Wheel of Time. Even Armada and Ready Player One, which had humor in it, were fairly serious dramas throughout.
Mm.
And The Martian, which I absolutely loved and read 3 to 4 times last year. You know, while there was humor in it, it was a serious drama. Pretty realistic. I saw it. So getting into this for me was incredibly difficult. And so it may not be so much the book as it is me. It's not you, it's me. That's what I'm telling the book.
Oh.
It's not you, it's me. Don't want to. So. Yeah, right. So, but anyways, so there. You have my thoughts.
Okay.
Go ahead. Now follow.
All right.
Now your turn, David.
Okay. So my thoughts on this book aren't quite as harsh as yours. However, I'm right there with you. I don't read parody books. In fact, I had to force myself to like sit down for this one pretty hard because I will watch a parody show way before I'll read a parody book.
I would agree with that.
It's easier to take in. A lot of times with a film or whatever, the humor can be found in like the small details. In a book, it takes you 3 sentences to tell you about, you know, the little thing that happened or whatever. That's why it's funny. However, I didn't finish. I got a little over 3/4 of the way through the book, and once it got really, really heavy into beer philosophy is where I could not get myself to finish the book. I can't drink beer because I'm allergic, so I don't have any like connection to it at all. I don't know beer like terminology and stuff because I don't care because I can't drink it. So it was just kind of like, oh yeah, I get it. I get what they're trying to do. However, up until that point, there was enough subtle things in it that I was really surprised how often I was chuckling out loud. And I'd be like, I hurt myself there. What? Just not? That was outside of my body. Yeah. So it's not the worst book in the world. However, if you're like me and Scott, you don't like parody books, it's not for you. And if you're like me and you don't love beer and Dune, then it's not for you. However, if one of us was like a microbrew enthusiast and loved Dune, this would probably be hilarious.
You know, and let me just talk. And Jim, we want to hear from you. So, for me, there's certainly, I understand how this book really was a tribute. I mean, when you think about like Weird Al Yankovic, right? He totally, Weird Al, obviously the songs that he does are funny. And if he parodies a song, I mean, that song has risen to a certain level of cultural status. And in a way, Dune gained cultural status. Lord of the Rings gained cultural status. It's a National Lampoon. So I thought it was worth their while, based on this cultural status of this book, to write a parody in it. Right. I think just the language in it and the words they used to like replace the Dune words just felt cumbersome to me. I think that was another issue that I kind of had with it.
So this was 1984. What year did Dune was 70 what?
I want to say 76, but I could be wrong. It was published before that in serial form.
Right. So, I mean, probably like book 2, maybe 3 were out by this point. So Dune would have been on a good stride when this was released.
Yeah.
Jim, what are your thoughts?
Okay. I tell you what, when I bought this book and I started thumbing through it and looking at different places in it, and I was just laughing. The first thing I saw was the Baron hard charging. And I said, oh gosh, I got to read this. This is so much fun. And I got through everything else I was doing. And I was really, really looking forward to it. And then I started reading it, and I got a couple of chapters in and found myself just kind of, what is this? This is too much. Okay. The names of the characters, the way they parodied those names, did make me laugh and kept me entertained. The story is what lost me.
Exactly.
Okay, the beer stuff and the restaurant stuff and everything else, and that just absolutely, it was like, come on, we could have done so much better than this. Um, I found the reading the book tiresome. I could read so much of it, and then I had to put it down and get away from it because it just got, I don't know, too immersed in stupidity, and I just couldn't continue to read. But yeah, I did not. It's not something I would put on my top 10 list.
Yeah, to say the least. Well, I think Jim, you kind of nailed a problem that I had as I read through the portion that I read. Do you? Maybe this is a question more than the problem, but do you think that this book tried too hard as a parody book to follow Dune? I mean, Dune is steeped so deep into the philosophical and the world building so rich. Is it possible to do a parody at this level, Jim?
I think that they really tore apart. I'll tell you what, whoever wrote this, if that's the actual person, I'd say they're brilliant because they dug all the way into Dune and absolutely tore everything apart, especially the philosophical points of view. You can tell that when it's like, what was that scene where Duke Lotto says you are my son and I am your father, and those obvious silly little turnaround things. I thought that was pretty clever, but it didn't ever get beyond clever. And there were a couple of points with the book that I could not tell if they were parodying the book or parodying the 1984 movie.
That's true.
I'm right there with you because I was surprised how in detail some things were, and then how totally off other things were. It just seemed kind of. One thing that I noted is that people don't die in this book nearly as much as in the original.
Yeah, Lotto was exiled,
Right, yeah, and then even like he doesn't kill whatever Janice's double is called. He just walks out into the sand, and then you'll turn around and you'll have another scene where they just off someone, and it's just kind of like, really, they chose to kill that character instead of the one that's supposed to die, but now you have this kind of loose end. I don't know. It bothered me because I don't know. It was a small thing that didn't matter, but it just bugged me.
Yeah, as I said, it was clever. They probably could have done the same thing in 50 pages.
Yeah.
And actually, as I read this thing, I felt more that I think I would have appreciated it and enjoyed it a lot more if they had done it in the magazine form, like a comic book. Like Mad Magazine did with Star Trek and everything else. I just didn't think it really. I just didn't like the novel that much.
Yeah,
this would make a great 10 to 15 minute SNL skit.
Yeah.
I mean,
I thought you were gonna say, a great coffee coaster.
Yeah.
But change it to something else. I mean, not restaurants and food, and it was just dumb.
Yeah.
I
will say though, there were a lot of some of the clever stuff really had me like enjoying it, which I thought the Rubik's Cube thing was kind of clever.
Yeah. Go along with it.
Yeah. And I love the way the first couple of times I love the way the Baron talked and how it was so redundant the way he kept saying that I'm the Baron, such and such, the Baron, and like he would get interrupted mid like dialogue.
Yes, that did. I found that very hilarious. Every time he'd start, and I, the Baron, and Peter would cut him off.
Yeah, and now I came pretty close to finishing it, and I actually intend to hopefully finish it at some point, just out of curiosity, because I only have like 25 more pages or whatever. But the scene, my favorite scene in the entire book, was when, and in my mind I couldn't even keep their fake name, their new names. When Thufir comes in to talk to the Duke, and they have the whole conversation of like shorthand things, like, well, you don't think, well, I don't know. I mean, maybe if we do this, are you sure you want to? And it's like half sentences.
Yeah.
And it gets to the point where both of them stop and they're like, I don't know what we're talking about anymore. From here on out, we have to use full sentences.
That was a Sapphire half-wit.
Yeah, Sapphire half-wit, yeah. And that was probably my favorite scene, because both of them are just like, from now on, let's just use full sentences so that we can understand what we're saying. I love that. I loved that scene. I could see that scene play out in a Mel Brooks film. So,
yeah.
Well, so let's talk about some of the characters that stood out. These are our loved characters, given these bastardized names. Obviously done so in a way that's supposed to be loving. Who stood out as characters in the way that National Lampoon wrote Dune?
I will say that Jessica, who was Jessica, they had her name spelled correctly several times in the book.
Yeah, in fact, someone said, I saw that was a mistake. There were some times they actually spelled it as Jessica.
Yeah, I thought that was like, I was like, wait a minute, what? So, characters that stood out, I liked the Spilgard.
Yes.
Spilgard.
And how he was just like, he kind of like would point out what you were thinking. Like, there's this lady who talks really weird. And they'd be like, what do you mean? He'd be like, well, just let her talk for a second. And Jessica would start talking. He's like, see, she talks really weird.
Yeah. He was the Friedman Nabe of the Hooch Grabber.
The Hooch Grabber. Yeah.
He was my favorite character that they parodied.
I do like the revved up mothers.
The revved up mothers.
Yeah.
Revved up mothers.
They were pretty revved up when you think of Dune.
Mm-hmm.
They were always like on the edge, especially when those Honor Matri came in.
And anytime about Haagen-Dazs, I thought that name was very well done.
Yeah, the Shanana Duke Model T Kumquat Haagen-Dazs Asshole Moav Bib. Moav Bib.
And how the revved up mothers were like, oh, we don't actually know what the Kumquat Haagen-Dazs is.
See, these names are what kept me going. I mean, for instance, the Chronicler, the Princess Sarutan.
Okay.
Are you guys old enough to remember what Sarutan is?
No.
Not also, I recognize it, but I don't remember.
Okay. Some of this stuff in this book is kind of dated. All right. Sarutan was a laxative. As a matter of fact, I think they sponsored the Lawrence Welk show, if I'm not mistaken, at one point.
Okay.
And they always said at the end, and you guys might remember reading this in the book, they always said at the end of the commercial that Sarutan is nature's spelled backwards. Do you remember that in the book?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Nature.
So, yeah.
There were a bunch of product placement things that I was like, oh, that's really dated. Like, I know what it is, but it's really dated.
Yeah.
So, all right, I've got a quote.
We're jumping quotes already?
I'm going to throw it in because I liked it.
There's some stuff, other names I want to talk about.
All right. Another name.
Go ahead. Tell your quote. You're in a passion tell quote.
Yeah. All right.
Go ahead. Leap in.
What sort of man was Duke Lotto Agmenides? we may say he was a brave man, yet a man who knew the value of caution. We may say he was possessed of a highly refined sense of humor, yet, like all leaders, was he no less capable of acts of duplicitous and sleazy? We may say this, we may say that, indeed. We may say anything we want. We may say, for example, that he was not a man at all, but rather a highly evolved bicycle. See, we may say just about anything. And that was Princess Suratan.
I did read that.
Mm-hmm.
That is a good quote.
Yeah. So he's a bicycle.
I do like the names of some of the guilds, like the Noam Chomsky.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The Tralis Organizational Abba Mercantile Condominium Habatampa Ortho Novum Minahaha Shostavik Categorica.
Shostakovich.
Yes, Shostakovich. Categorical imperative.
What about all the great big houses? House Pancakes, House of Seven Petty Grable, House Rising Sun, and House Dressing.
Let me tell you, of those four, I want to be part of House Pancakes.
Yeah,
that's I'm with House Pancakes.
I'm with you there. That sounds like a great house to be a part of.
Yep. Yeah.
Although Betty Grable wouldn't be too bad either.
No, but 7 of them.
Yeah, that might be
a bit much. I like the Schlepping Guild.
The Schlepping Guild.
the besotted long haul truckers and speak like the characters in the convoy.
Yeah.
They fold space, bend space, tuck space, and shove space in.
It sounds about like the Spacing Guild.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah.
And then Aliyah became Nailya.
Nelia.
Nailya. The truly
Nailya. The truly the weirding. See, they brought in the weirding module.
Yep.
Yeah. So straight from the movie.
I know. I like Flip Rotha.
Yeah. And that their battles were just insult battles.
Yeah,
I liked that, and I even used some of the insults from them.
Yeah.
Your mom's a pack of gum, 5 sticks for a nickel.
Taken out of context, this stuff is hilarious.
Yeah, exactly. Taken out of context.
Shadap the Fourth, the padded bra emperor.
Yep.
Oh, padded bra. Oh, jeez. Oh man.
Wow.
That said, I don't know if they could ever do a parody of Dune and it would be like as funny as you'd want it to be.
No, thing is, Dune is just too damn political and serious.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just, you look at that, and on one hand, to do a serious parody of it takes away. Like, this book takes away from the depth and the ingenuity and the commentary on politics that we have in society. Doesn't mean it's not funny. It just means that, you know, I think it just takes away something. And I don't know that you could ever do a book like Dune.
Mm-hmm.
But
I did like the Friedman men had sweatpants outfits. And like they would
That's not like the movie, isn't it?
And they had stuff that said just like athletic club and stuff on the like regular sweatshirt saying.
Yeah.
I thought that was great.
But was there a
Sweatsuits.
loop in there?
No, there was.
What did Gurney Howlett play?
What was it? It was like a real instrument, though, wasn't it, Jim?
Oh gosh, I can't remember.
It was.
Lute player.
He takes it out pretty early on.
Yeah,
That's
and then never does again. Thank goodness.
Oh, the songs were so bad.
Oh well, yeah. But as you said earlier,
Rickenbacker.
oh,
Isn't
that's right. A Rickenbacker. If you can get a hold of a 12-string Rickenbacker guitar,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
you have really got something.
I was going to say,
Are we talking
guitar.
like thousands of dollars?
Yes. You remember that group, the Birds?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, that sound that they got was because of a 12-string Rickenbacker guitar.
Oh.
And it is such a unique sound that they have never ever been able to duplicate with any other instrument.
Did Rickenbacker only make did Rickenbacker go out of business, or were they bought out, or what happened?
I honestly don't know. But
Yeah.
listen to the recording of the Birds singing Mr. Tambourine Man in particular.
Is that
yeah.
Oh, they still make guitars because they have a 75th anniversary.
Oh.
So
I can't imagine they'd be as good as that because that guitar they had, that was just sweet.
yeah, you can buy a 1966 Rickenbacker for about $5,000.
Yeah.
Only.
There's a 1963 Rickenbacker for $6,000.
What about the 12-string? Can you find that?
You want a 12-string? Now you're demanding, Jim. The 12-string, you can get the 12-string electric, but this is not the. No, that's the 12-string electric was the $5,000.
Ah,
Yeah.
There you go, Jim.
So.
yep. I better start saving my nickels and dimes.
Then
I'm going to have to save.
Keep giving loot lessons for it.
You'll get there.
Well, I'll
Yeah.
tell you what. The thing of it is, as far as guitar playing is concerned, I know 3 chords and I own a capo.
That's good. That's all you need.
And
Hey, just so you know, it wasn't just Roger McGuinn of the Birds that played it. But George Harrison played one. Tony Hicks of the Hollies. Mike Campbell of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers did.
Huh.
Carl Wilson of the Beach Boys. Tom Petty did. Brian Jones of the Rolling Stones. Mike Rutherford of Genesis. Pete Townsend of the Who. Dave Davies of the Kinks. A lot of people use this guitar.
yeah, they're I don't know about modern ones, but the old ones are absolutely sought after.
Yeah, it was. Let me see here. It was called the 36012 semi-hollow body with the Rickenbacker copy. But so yeah,
More to talk about this guitar than the book.
yeah. I'm okay. We can do about this. Anyways, back to the book.
Yes.
Well, what else do we want to talk about this book? You got anything to add, Jim?
Any favorite?
Well, not really. I do have a comment that Chrissy made though, or shoot, you want to save that for feedback?
Oh, we can do. You know what? We do have the comment by Rick and the comment by Chrissy, and we do have a listener feedback. We can kind of do that at the end here.
Yeah.
So
okay.
But you have some quotes, I understand.
I do. I have a couple of them. One of them is, this realization focused within him in a sudden spark flash computation, and in the clear brilliance of that illumination, the boy Paul understood profoundness. His life hitherto a child plaything devoid of direction, seemingly, or had there in fact always been a plan within a plan within a plan, whatever that meant, whatever that meant, whatever that meant, now was encompassed by a terrible purpose. He knew the meaning of the word terrible, and he knew the meaning of the word purpose, and therefore he understood the meaning of terrible purpose, unless he, in the solitude of his deeply brain-filled mind, misunderstood this revelation and was in fact confronted with a terrible papoose. What could that mean?
That comes about. I think, I don't know if it's right before that or right after it. They're like, because he was doing this and he was doing that, and that's when he realized he was thinking.
He was.
See, this is an example of some of the stuff that, like, making fun of the philosophical point of view, because as all through Dune, the thing that impressed me over all the years from the first time I read it was plans within plans, or plots within plots, and so forth and so on. And this was directly making fun of that, whatever that meant.
Yeah.
So the other quote I had was, he was a chef and slob, customer and cashier, lunatic assistant electrician, warrior and shortstop. He was a saint, yet he was a man. He was a highly respected leader, yet he was also a great disappointment. He was not content until his people were free, yet he would not be happy until he had made his mother miserable. He strode across a ruckus like he owned the place. Who did he think he was? If he's so ineffable, let him write his own damn biography. From No More Princess Nice Guy, the Princess Saratan story by the Princess Saratan.
That is awesome.
That was my favorite quote out of the whole book.
Oh man. Well, do we want to so we do our own rating of the book, and then I have some Goodreads stuff.
All right, yeah, let's do our rating. Jim, where would you rate this book?
A solid 1.
Oh,
yeah, me 1. David's just speechless.
Well, I know I was going to say, but I'm not, and then I realized it's too high. I'm going to say a 2.5. And here's the reason why. Here's the reason why. I chuckled during it. I didn't hate it as much as I got bored. And there's a big difference. I hated Road to Dune. I never want to read that book ever again in my life. This, I could be forced to read again. I don't want to, but I could be forced. If you were like, you have to read Road to Dune, I might be like, it's over. I mean, I had a good run. I did a podcast for a while. It was fun.
No, I could read Road to Dune again. I read it twice. I can read it again.
So
I could read Road to Dune again, but I will never read this again.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
I chuckled out loud. That's not easy to do.
Do you want mine as a coaster? I mean,
I already have 1 or 2 coasters.
Hey, you always you and your friend over. Company, hey,
Text me your
Dune coaster.
Text me your address, David, and you'll have a complete set of coasters.
That's right. For 3 people.
3 people.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I didn't hate the thing. Okay, but it bored the hell out of me.
Yeah.
See, for me, a 1, I could never say read the book. At a 2, I could say, meh. I mean, read it if you want to. So,
oh man, I don't know if I can say that. I can't ever say read the book.
If we met somebody who loves Dune and they also are a total hipster and they love microbrews, I would have been like, yeah, you might find this hilarious.
Okay.
They talk about beer. You like beer.
Yeah.
It was going to be hilarious.
Funnier. To me, it was funnier with things taken out of context.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, just before we go into some listener feedback, maybe it's appropriate, since we're kind of evaluating a book, to talk about how this book did in Goodreads.
Okay.
All right. So Goodreads, people gave this a 3.58 out of 5. So higher rating than any of us did. And what I want to do is I want to read the one guy that gave it a 5-star rating, and then we'll do like 1-star reviews. Like two 5-star reviews, and then we got some listener feedback.
All right.
So this comes from Peter, right? And Peter said this: a brilliant parody of Frank Herbert's Dune. Wiener's mimicry of Herbert's style is dead on accurate. How he managed to successfully parody a huge tome in such a relatively slender book is beyond me. I tried to read Dune at the age of 10, and I simply wasn't ready. I cried and threw the book across the room, not something I'd ever done before or since. I bore a grudge against Frank Herbert for years. When I read Dune, D-O-O-N, I was delighted at the skewering of Herbert's style and plotting, and yet somehow it led me back to Dune again. I was much older by then, and now I was ready for it. The humor of Dune added a leaven of humor to Herbert's extremely complex and dense masterpiece. Dune lampooned Dune, literally, not by tearing it apart. I'm not quite sure how to explain it, but Dune actually enhanced Dune, at least for me. Needless to say, you should read Dune, or at least a good chunk of it, as I did before reading Dune, D-O-O-N. I can't help but wonder if Herbert read Dune, and if so, what he thought of it. He's not considered one of science fiction's great humorists, but I've caught a few in-jokes in his works. Read the appendices to Dune carefully, and you'll catch one or two. I like to think he would have enjoyed Dune.
It's a good question for Brian.
Yeah, good question from Ryan. Did he ever read Dune? But he's much more forgiving of Dune than I am. But I tell you what I do like. I do like how he like drew him back to Dune.
Yeah.
And I mean, there certainly is an age level at reading these. So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right.
There's no way a 10-year-old can read and understand Frank Herbert's Dune.
Yeah.
I mean, kids are reading Dork Diaries, for crying out loud. Dune, come on.
Yeah.
So let me read one of the 1 stars, and I'll read a 2-star. So Marianne said, the way the author apes the writing style of Dune is immediately obvious, and what I read of it was quite clever. But the constant ridiculous, clever puns and almost mirror-like comparisons to the series were not dynamic enough for me to read the book. And that actually echoes a lot of what you're saying. The dynamicness was missing of it. This came in from David. It came in. It was on Goodreads. Not you, different David. I commend, unless you look quite different, the picture doesn't quite look. I commend the author on a wonderful lampooning of Herbert's Dune. She captured and characterized Herbert's writing style to such an extent that I laughed out loud many times at some point, and I finished the book primarily because I wanted to see it through. Even so, I would still recommend Dune for the sake of its novelty. That was a 2-star.
Okay.
And because they're short, let me read one of the 3 stars. It's been quite a while since I read the novel. Correction, massive novel, Dune, D-U-N-E. But I recall most of the segments of the original. Plus, I've seen David Lynch's movie once or twice. This is from Mike, by the way. A friend of me told me of this book at least a year ago, and he and I share many likes in fiction and pop culture, including Lord of the Rings. In due course, I bought a used copy and put it on the to-read pile, where it sat for months until this past weekend. What all this is leading up to is that I wanted to and expected to really, really like this book. And while I liked, quote unquote, it and appreciate how the other took the original and created Dune from it, I didn't like it as much as I'd hoped I would. Is it me? Have I outgrown the pithy parody paperbacks? No, I don't think so. I don't think that's it. Heck, I'm still writing to bend the language to create alliterations. And it's not that cutting down a humongous novel into a moderate length comic work inevitably falls flat. Lord of the Rings takes a full 3-volume set of Lord of the Rings down to one slim paperback with great success. Could it be that I no longer have my ear or mind attuned to the character patterns of the original and thus do not appreciate the cleverness and skill of the author? Actually, I did chuckle over most of the language twists and grew more pleased as I moved to the middle end of the book. And I caught myself anticipating how certain acts of the book would be written as they aped what was in the original. Old days since I finished it, and after mulling it over, I have to conclude that it's just not as good as I thought it would be. From the beginning, I thought it was a bit flat, not unlike beer that's been left out for 2 or 3 days. I had a familiar feel to it, but most of the tang was missing. I kept hoping I would react better to the next page and chapter, but found the bulk of the book to be pretty consistent with the opening. Don't get me wrong. I liked it. I just didn't really like it. I just didn't really like it. What I can't predict is how someone else might like or dislike the book. Mr. Wiener, translation of Dune is very good. His imagery and language are more than adequate. For those that know the original, how he chose to craft his parody is clever and ultimately perhaps the best fit of any possible one. While I don't want to spoil things for anybody, I do think that reading Dune without having read Dune is a foolish undertaking, even for someone doing comic analysis. How can you judge the effectiveness of one without knowing the other? Let's see how long this goes. Oh, just 2 more paragraphs. Personally, I thought the way Dune took and condensed the essential scenes of the original worked quite well into the last chapter or 2. And then, like in many similar works, the author takes an extremely short cut to keep the length down and produce a quick outcome. And for the most part, that is fine. In this book, I would have liked a little more length, but that's a minor complaint. So when all is said and done, if you have a sense of humor, if you have read Dune, watching the movie isn't enough to appreciate the window dressing elements of the original or the parody. And if you aren't rabid about how great Frank Herbert was for ecological reasons, but that goes back to having a sense of humor, then you just might get a few laughs and some satisfaction out of reading this old but worthy book. If you're lucky, and I hope you are, you might experience side-splitting laughter and convulsive jerks as you double up in mirth. For myself, I think I will reread this book in a few months or a year. Perhaps it will grow in me, and I will remember to write a review of Lord of the Rings.
A lot of good stuff there. I mean, it kind of mirrored a lot of what we were saying.
Yeah, much more. Yeah,
You liked it a lot more.
I did not.
Yeah.
I hated it. I hate it.
Steak for dinner sometime soon.
Yeah. Oh, Jim, why don't you share your feedback?
Okay. I had 2 bits of feedback. One was from Rick Tatro down there in Florida, Admiral Marius. And I had posted on Facebook that I had finished reading the book, and I said it wasn't, I can't remember exactly, but it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, and I really didn't enjoy it. And Rick came back very, very short time later with how disappointed he was that I didn't enjoy it. But then again, he admitted that he was quite a bit younger when he read it. So I don't think he was really sure how he'd feel about it if he read it again now. But he obviously had some fond memories of the book. As I was reading the book, I had closed it and set it down, and Chrissy came over and picked it up off the table, and she looked at it and she says, "Dad, what's with the chef riding the giant pretzel and the other chef standing there watching?" All I could tell her was, "I don't know, kid. I just don't know."
Maybe it is an age thing. Maybe, here I am encroaching on in the mid 40s, and maybe I'm losing my sense of humor.
Yeah.
Might be. I'm just losing my
forgot what fun is.
Yeah. Death and taxes. It's all
the old man over here.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Get off my lawn.
Yeah.
As I said, if they had done this in a comic book style with the drawings and the text bubbles and all that other stuff, I think I would have enjoyed this a whole lot more.
I agree.
Yeah.
So what do we have for on our
side? Okay, well, so we have one more. This actually comes in from Joseph Fuller, who I believe you know, Jim.
Oh yeah, we talk back and forth all the time. Joe.
Times. So this is a message for him, and we thank you. He actually called this in soon after our other show. He missed our other show barely. I think it might have been the day after, but we're gonna listen to his message and then we'll comment on it. So hopefully you can hear this, Jim.
Okay.
And if you can't, we'll tell you the gist of it. If you can't hear it for some reason, you should be able to. But this is a voicemail that comes from Joseph. So thanks, Joe, for calling in. And let me go ahead and play his message.
This is for the Dune Saga podcast. I just wanted to tell you I listened to the show, and I agree with Scott, sadly. Yeah, it is. My opinion is if you take Dreaming of Dune and Road to Dune as a 2-volume set, it's a lot better to read together than apart, Spice World was a little tough to read. Even though I listened to it, it was a tough listen to. So, my name's Joseph Fuller. I just thought I'd give you a call back and keep on rocking, guys.
So thank you again for calling in. So
Yeah.
he's on my side with Spice World. Spice Planet.
I like how he realizes that that's a bad thing, though.
And he
Said
just-
sadly.
No, sadly that he agrees with me.
Yeah.
What's with that? What's with that, Joe? Come on, sadly you agree with me? Maybe he just feels sad that he doesn't agree with you guys.
Oh,
So
amazing.
sad, yeah. Sadly,
Yeah.
I agree with Scott. Poor guy.
Yeah.
But he interesting. I don't know that I heard this. That he said if you pair it with Dreamer of Dune, that this kind of works better. And I can see the I can see the little vignettes, like how Dune got published and everything like that, fitting as being really a part of Dreamer of Dune.
Right. And Dreamer of Dune is our next book, so
Yeah.
I guess we'll be able to comment on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, but I do have to read, and so Joe, just understand this is in no way a reflection of you, but Google Translate loved your accent, and it did a bang up job when it did a transcript of your voicemail message.
Yeah.
And can I read it?
Yeah. Well, so just to give the audience a little bit of background, sometimes we don't play the stuff when we record. We just read the transcript and we edit in the message later.
Right.
But when you see what the transcript came through with this one,
Oh, I just wanted to read this.
yeah.
And this is the same message you just heard, so you could probably understand and pick up what he was actually saying.
Yeah.
But this is his message, and he said, "This is for the Dude Sorry Cast. I just wanted to tell you to I just wanted to tell you, I listened to the show and I agree with Scott. It's Ashley. Yeah, this, Mom, can you use it if you tell you dreaming of days? And it's very cool as we lost Jim. And it's very to do first as a tube. You are said it's a lot better to read together than apart. Spice World was a live press to read through, though. I listened to it as it was a test, loosen things. So my name is James Joseph Fuller. I just thought I'd give you a call. I just thought I'd give you a call back and keep on rocking gas.
Oh, jeez.
Yes.
Yes, if we keep eating what they have in Dune here, we're going to be rocking gas.
I think my
Beer and
favorite
pretzels.
my favorite part is it's actually like
It's actually, yeah.
Ouch. Okay, and the reason I'm laughing so hard is because Joseph is down there in North Carolina, and we've talked on Skype once or twice, and I can just see the translator trying to figure all this out. Hey, how y'all doing down there?
Y'all
come on over here right now.
And Siri does the same thing. Like my daughter, because she's from Haiti, even though she speaks very clearly, she has that little accent that throws Siri off.
Mm-hmm.
And it writes the most hilarious things when it tries to translate it. And so this is not a reflection anyway of Joe.
Oh, okay.
It's totally in the algorithm that they use to kind of translate it.
Right.
And it just came off as pretty hilarious.
It does.
Well, see, and my dad, I would say probably where my dad is from is only about 60 or 70 miles from where Joseph lives.
Okay, so yeah.
So I'm used to the accent. I could listen to the guy all day and understand every single word he says, but this transcript thing just kills me.
Oh yeah. But thanks again, Joe, for calling in and giving us your thoughts.
And please do again.
And especially for agreeing with me. That's the important thing. It was Ashley. It was definitely Ashley.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, so we are reading Dreamer of Dune, which is a biography of Dune. What are you anticipating in this book, David?
Oh, man. I am anticipating a look into what it was like. I don't know how much it does, what it was like to grow up with a father. I want to see the father-son dynamic explored here between Brian and Frank. I'm hoping that he touches on it in the book.
No, I agree.
How could he not? I mean, he wrote it. So,
right. So you would think that would be part of it.
Yeah, to grow up with a emerging icon and how difficult that may have been, or easy.
And how difficult it was for Frank to deal with the recognition.
Right. I mean, writers in general, it's just kind of like, it's kind of a different kind of like celebrity thing than an actor or you know, something like, because you see them doing the thing that they're known for.
Right.
But with a writer, you don't see them. The work is totally separate from the person. I mean, generally. Yeah. So.
Yeah. How about you, Jim? What are you looking forward to in the Dreamer of Dune?
Well, I would sure like to see what kind of things went into what he thought about before he sat down and started writing this, and what got him interested in conservation and how we really more or less how we got from Spice World. Is that what it's called? Spice World?
Spice Planet.
Spice Planet. How we got from Spice Planet to Dune.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. All right. Well, we don't have much more to say, do we? Here,
no.
We should wrap up. You want to read the wrap up stuff?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got it up here. I think I'm good.
Okay, go ahead.
So, all right. So first off, we want to let you know that we love hearing from you. So if you want to leave some feedback on Dreamer of Dune, which is their next book that we'll be reviewing, or any book in the series or anything Dune related, or about how ridiculous it is someone agreed with Scott, whatever, you can hit us up. We're on Twitter at Dune Saga Podcast. We're on Facebook, facebook.com Dune Saga Podcast. You can go to our main hub, dunesagapodcast.com, or shoot us an email right on over at dunesagapodcast@gmail.com. There's also a wonderful 1-800 number you can call and leave voicemail.
Technically, it's not 1-800, but you can call it that if you want.
Yeah,
so
there's a hotline.
It's a hotline. It's one. Yeah. 1-260-577 chat. That's 1-260-577-2428.
If this was like a radio station with like buttons to press, there'd be one who says it's a hotline. It'd be like, oh yeah, so those are the main ways to get in touch with us. We encourage you to do that because we love to hear from you. We love to respond to what you've got to say, good or bad. Keep the emails coming about how great my beard is. Those are the best ones.
Yes.
Thank you to all our Patreon supporters. You can find us at patreon.com/Dune Saga Podcast, where you can choose to support us on a subscription basis for when we release new episodes. Other than that, I think that's just about it.
That's about it. Yeah, it's about wraps it up.
So, once again, for the Dune Saga Podcast, I'm David Moulton.
I'm Scott Herzog.
And I'm Jim Arrowwood. And may Shai Hulud clear the path before you. Oh, boy.
And just remember, it's Ashley.
It's Ashley. Steak for dinner sometime soon.
Yep, it's Ashley. Oh, well, that gave us what, about 50-minute episode?
Yeah.
That was longer than I thought it might be.
It's fine. Yeah, I think that was good.
Yeah.
No, we really had to reach.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was good. It was good. So, Dreamer of Dune, in a month, that's a longer, obviously, book. So.
Yep, in about a month, that works. We'll have to talk.
Yeah.
We'll set some.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else to go. I want to edit this one.
You want to edit it?
Yeah, I've got all this time this weekend. I'm mentally in the right place.
You sure you want to edit it?
Yeah. I mean, keep files in case something drastic happens and we lose them or something. But
all right, we'll share them with both of us.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be my Saturday project.
Okay.
I'm ready. My creative juices are kind of flowing again. So.
All right, very good.
All right.
I guess I'll share the files with you.
I mean, if you really want to do it, you
can. That's fine.
Take some pressure off you.
Yeah, no. All right. Well, I guess that's about it, Jim. Hey, it was great to chat with you again.
Yeah, I'm glad everything worked out. I feel better now.
Yeah.
I love the Yoda over your shoulder there, by the way.
Yeah, that's Miles. Yeah.
The whatever show.
That's
There's
awesome.
a Yoda staring over your shoulder.
Oh yeah.
And back there.
Yeah.
You like my little
He's
mini
got-
my minifigs up here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see Star Trek figures there, but I can't really tell who the little ones are.
Oh yeah, they're all like the original Star Wars Kenner.
Figures.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Kiefer's college fund.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. I'll tell you what, we do a Secret Santa thing at school, and the person who drew my name was absolutely spot on. About every 3 days, I was getting some little thing. I got a little Yoda ornament, and then she got me a Star Wars calendar, and then there was a little pen set with Star Wars on it, and all this little stuff in the hat, and finally she gave me a Amazon gift card for the final thing. But I'll tell you what, about every 4 or 5 days, especially 2 weeks before school is out, when all the concerts are, it was a real nice pickup, let me tell you.
I'll bet.
Side note, Jim, because I know you buy movies like I do. They have like the Blu-rays on sale for $19 if you pre-order. At Target, Amazon.
I pre-ordered it the day it was announced when it was coming out.
There you go. Yeah, I just know I saw a thing today. It was like, so if you do it at Target, you can get a $5 gift card. So anyway,
Yeah, I know. I got The Martian that way.
nice, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we will touch base as far as when we're going to do this online.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Catch you later. We're gonna go eat pie.
Yep. All right.
Ooh. Good night, guys.
Yeah. Take care. Oh, I guess I can stop broadcasting.